All right, what's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be doing a review discussion for Fully Cooley Alternative. Tonight was the premiere of the first episode in English. The first episode actually premiered on April Fool's Day on Tsunami in subtitled Japanese language. I didn't watch it that night. My friend got to see, my friend that is going to be doing this discussion with me, he got to see a lot of that night, but I didn't. I decided not to really watch it. So I watched both the English subtitle version and the English dub version all tonight. So I'm gonna have kind of a different. I might have a different perspective on this show than he does, because he kind of liked the first season a little bit more than the second season. I think that's kind of the consensus when it came to the second season of Fully Cooley. But for tonight's review, we'll just kind of give you guys our general thoughts on the episode. So what do you think? Just kind of going off here. What do you think about the episode overall?
Um, was a little bit better than Progressive, and I'm not saying it was bad or anything, but the animation kind of like struck me as like, okay, this feels like the first Fully Cooley, at least to me. It it has like a more like similar tone to the original, I think, but this episode was kind of slow for me. I can already feel like, okay, this is another one of those slow burners where it's like, okay, it's gonna pick up in episode two because just from the promo alone, that like screamed like to me like, oh look, oh look, more nonsense. Hopefully,
Yeah, that preview. See that preview. That next episode. Not to kind of get off topic for tonight's episode, but that next episode looks a lot more interesting than this first episode. Like, what was that in the background? That looked like a transformer. That looked like Bumblebee.
yep, I have no clue.
Yeah, see, like it needed more of that, cause like in this episode for me, and I'll let you. Matter of fact, I'll just let you kind of continue to kind of say what you kind of liked about the episode before I kind of get into kind of what I thought about it. So you can
Right.
kind of keep going, Matt.
All right. Just in general, like that, I feel like the tone is like the tone is kind of setting up for more toward the original, or kind of going in his own, and at the same time going in his own way, in its own direction. But I don't know. It's hard to say, but I know for a fact, like this episode to me personally, really kind of fell flat. Not just because I've seen it already. It's just that like man, like you got the Never Knows Best little nod with the little block,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
then
I saw that.
I'm like, okay, it's not on a cigarette, but they are smoking, okay, and not only that, but
Yeah,
kind of
yeah. You
already
can see the
it's
other girl was smoking in one of the scenes.
at that, kind of the new main protagonist we got here. Like I texted this to you, and I even like pointed out like the biggest thing difference between with her and setting her apart from both Hidomi and Naota, what is the fact that she actually has friends that she actually hangs out with, and not just people that she has to deal with because she just deals with idiots all day or something like that. Like she actually has friends. It's already sets her apart from both of them already. So,
I mean, I kind of
and
like
from the
hate. Well, go ahead, go ahead. I'm not gonna interrupt you. My bad.
I mean, it's just that's the biggest thing I've noticed, and I'm not saying like Hidomi and Naruto are bad characters at all because I honestly like I think I know what you're gonna say here. Hidomi like is more. If I had to pick between the three, like Hidomi screams more me than all three of them so far. But regardless, episode two looks better. This one was kind of flat for me. Just it's but it still has like a season one ish feel to it. I don't know like that's the thing that's the thing. They're already putting this from apart from they're already setting this apart from Progressive. So go ahead.
Well, when you pointed out how different that the characters are and everything, and how she has like how she basically has friends and everything, this is an obvious thing to kind of point out. And I was just thinking about this earlier. Naota, he was like what in elementary school, and then Hidomi was like in middle school, and now we got someone who's in high school. So
Oh,
they're kind
yeah.
of trying to
Okay.
tackle every age group. And I get what you're saying about how like the tone is kind of similar to the first season. I think that's what more people wanted from the second season, so I can kind of see how some people might actually come out of this season assuming it's all still, on the same level of quality. I could see how a lot of people probably will enjoy this more than um the second season. But for me, just going into this, I was a little afraid, mainly because it's an all-female cast, and I don't have necessarily an issue with watching an anime that has all females, but it does kind of, when you have a whole female cast, and you know it's set in high school and stuff, it kind of brings a stigma along with it. I will say that after watching the Japanese version and then the English version, I saw like some differences between some of the dialogue. They added that Kim Kardashian line. They added a few lines. There were a few lines that they there's a few lines that they added that I liked, and then there were other lines that I thought, yeah, that kind of worked better when it came to the English subtitle version. Something I will point out is that I don't think they really played any new music in this episode. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in that montage scene, I believe that music was from season two. They actually played that music in season
Mm,
two and maybe in season one.
no, no, this. No, I've actually listened to the soundtrack, dude. Like this is specifically like alternative music,
Are
and
you
the
sure?
end.
I swear I've heard this
I'm
song. Like I swear I've heard this in season two.
you just thinking like all those music sound the same.
Look. Maybe I'm tripping. It's 12 o'clock at night. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But I will
They,
say, they did. Just going back to your point of how how this is kind of in line with the first season. That outro. If you look at the outro, it is very similar to the first season outro, compared to
yeah.
the second season outro. But I will say that they, as far as like the messaging, the message of the show, the theme of the show, I feel like they're kind of, you know, being a bit. I don't want to say not ham-fisted, but they're hammering it home a little bit too much. They're laying it on a bit too thick. If you, I don't know if you noticed in that scene where they finish building the bottle rocket,
A rocket.
and then you could see, I think it was like a flag or maybe a black picture or whatever, but it was a black something on the wall, and it had the number 18 crossed out. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too much, but I just thought that maybe that was something that I guess maybe we were supposed to pick up on. I mean, perhaps.
Because they're hammering it real deep. That they don't want to grow up just yet, and they're on the verge of becoming like I guess young adults. I guess like yeah, in Japan, like 18 is the age of young adult. I guess so. Like
I
17
mean,
is like it.
that's like that everywhere, though.
True, true. Because yeah, but look, man, look, yeah, they are hammering it too a little bit too thick, but. Eh, eh,
But here's what I wanted to ask you earlier. So do you think that this episode was better than the first episode of the second season? Because I saw people when the second season came out, there were people complaining about that. But I'm looking at
um,
this and I'm like, this isn't as interesting. I mean, one thing you can say about, and I don't really want to turn this video into just a comparison between the second season and even the first season at that. But it's like when you compare both of the seasons. I mean, okay, season one, granted, Fully Cool is a new thing, so it obviously caught everybody off guard. Second season, there was stuff throughout the it was stuff throughout that first premiere that could easily hook you. Where with this, I like there really wasn't anything for me. I mean, there wasn't really anything too interesting about the episode, unless I'm just missing something. But it just didn't really click to me.
Um, okay. No, you're not the only one because like it may have had that season one kind of feel to it. I'm gonna go on record right now that I like Progression's opening episode more than this because it had a lot more going on that set up a lot more. I mean, all we know is that Haruko just came up in here with her Marty McFly puff jacket, and he doesn't have the Rickenbacker for whatever reason that she got from last season, and like, okay, she's gonna be terrorizing some kids, and Jinyu's not around, so and a new guy that's like actually watching over the situation. That's all we know. Last season we had Jinyu, we had Haruko nearby, we had we did have a lot more going on than Progressive's opening episode more than this. And yes, I do think that it's going to pick up in episode 2, but this episode was a little weak. Was very weak in comparison to Progressive's opening episode. So
And one
you're
of
not
the
the only one.
like one of the criticisms that I saw a lot of people were saying about like especially like the first half of season two was just the fact that it wasn't as fast paced as season one was. It wasn't as random as season one was. Whereas in this just judging it off of this premiere, we have that same quote unquote problem, that same issue that I think a lot of people had with season two. So it's like all these people that I know are gonna be looking at this episode and are gonna be saying, well, it has a similar tone to season one, and they might, if this like I said, if this season actually continues and it's of quality, they'll say, oh, it's better than Progressive. But then it's like, well, if you like this and let's say it's not as random as the first season, then maybe it's not the fact that y'all didn't really like season two overall, but it's just like y'all didn't really like the tone, because I know some people probably thought that season two was edgy, whereas with like the characters
Ugh.
in the characters in this are more, I don't want to say kind of lighthearted, but I mean it's not as kind of mysterious as like the main character in this. For example, there's kind of no mystery there, and maybe that's kind of what would hook me to season two, because I've told you before, and I said this in the other reviews that we did, that season one, I appreciate the first season of Fully Cooley, but I like the second season better, and this feels like it's gonna be kind of like a modern take on what the first season did, but it feels kind of lesser, just judging off of this first episode. Again, I'm not saying that the episode was bad. Um, like I said before, the dialogue was a bit different. They obviously changed it because English, Japanese is gonna be different. What do you think about the voice acting and everything like that? Was Laura Bailey in this? I know we were talking about her earlier, but the main girl kind of sounds like that could have been her, doing the voice.
Yeah, might have been, might have been. That might have been her,
I
but
know the
I'm not.
homeroom teacher, or whoever the teacher was, whoever was doing that voice, it sounded familiar, but I couldn't place it. It might have been someone who's on Naruto or something like that.
I think that was Travis Willingham. I think who is a Reggie in Second Son and Mustang in Full Metal Alchemist. I immediately thought of Mustang when I heard his voice. I know that's him. I know that's his
It
voice
just it
actor.
sounded like
But
somebody from Naruto though. because I didn't really watch like I don't really watch those shows that you just mentioned. Like I don't really watch them like that.
Second Son game. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Infamous.
Second Son, yeah, yeah, yeah. I played that, but as far as the as far as like the anime that you just mentioned, like I didn't really watch that like that. So,
I
well, I
know,
don't know.
I know,
He
but
sounded familiar, but just like the voice acting overall, good or bad.
yeah, I liked it, except for the Kim Kardashian crack. It's like, come on now, you don't have to. You really didn't have to do that.
So one of the other girls in that scene where they're talking about what they would want to do or whatever, she was like she wants to marry a basketball player or something like that. I was like, oh, so you just want to be a gold digger? Pretty much.
What is this dig at American? What is this dig at American? Is it a dig at America at this point? Oh my god.
I mean, they just had to add some of the American cultural references in it. Cause it's like it's minor differences. Cause like if you watch the well, also you watch the subtitle version, you notice they called it Dr. Pep. That soda that what was the big girl's name? It started with the M, like Mosana or something like that or whatever. I'm probably far
Yeah,
off, but she was drinking Dr.
dude.
Pepper, and like the subtitle, like in the subtitle version, it was called Dr. Pep or something like that. So it's kind of like minor differences. Just small minor differences.
Yeah. Um. Oh, get my dig in real quick.
Yeah, go
It's
ahead.
really not a dig, but I'm gonna get my dig in real quick.
Got something negative to say?
You not a dig, not a dig, just a comparison. Like, I pretty much agree with you, like on the whole, like progressive over alternative. Like, I think Kidomi was more us than Kana or Nata is or were. I think like
Like let's not write it like let's not write the show off or the characters off yet. But
not.
you know,
I'm not. I'm just saying like as a comparison, if I had to like see myself in one of these guys' shoes, it would probably always be Hidomi because I still it's just like the music in the ears, like cutting people off and all that. It's just like keeping to yourself and all that. Like that, I think that's what did it. Except now it's like she has like friends, man. She has friends and all.
I mean, I'm trying
It's
to
just
figure
like
out what was supposed to be so different. Well, not different, but I'm trying to figure out like what's the hook with this character. What's the hook with
so
this
far
character?
it's
Because
so far
with season one with Naota, I mean, they had a hook. He misses his brother. He misses his brother, and then you have all these other characters, like his brother's girlfriend. Her hook is okay. She goes around and she's calling Naota by his brother's name, and she's using these different objects and things. Like she's just kind of displaced or whatever. Like there's a hook. There was a hook in that
mm,
season with those characters. There was a hook in the second season with the second season characters. I'm just trying to wrap my head around what they're trying to do with this season because it kind of feels like they're trying to go back a little bit as far as like we mentioned before with the tone, but I'm just not sure what is you know just not sure where they're kind of headed with this.
in Hidomi's case, it was pretty much her not accepting that her father was missing or gone, and like her just not accepting her current situation, so she shut everybody out, and
Yeah,
that was the hook with her.
that the headphones, the dreams and stuff. I mean, it had its hooks. Just like with like season one, it was very sporadic, very random, very quick. But with this first episode, it's just at first the pacing was a bit faster, like during the beginning of it, I want to say, and then it just kind of just slowed down and slowed down. And even like even the first fight, like even the the battle at the end with Haruko, I do like when she comes in and like she jumps through the glass or whatever, and then she just kicks Kana in the face or in the head rather. But it's still not gonna
Worst hero
outdo
ever.
like it's still not gonna outdo uh Jinyu knocking Hidomi in the head with her car.
With her car. I mean,
it's still not gonna outdo that.
I mean, also this, like, the first thing we see in Progressive is literally the world, like, is, like, totaled. It is all in her head. That's the first thing we see. It's like, we have a theme to go with it and everything, and it's like, it's dream. We always have a dream sequence in every episode too. What's this hook? It's like, we don't want you get older. Okay. Still
I mean,
not as impressed.
I mean, like the
Not as
the
impressive.
teenage girls just seem like typical. Like they wrote them as typical, almost like when I was watching this, I was like, they kind of acting like white girls a little bit, like teenage white girls, like
Yeah.
you would see in like live action shows or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I told you earlier, like I'm not sure about this. I'm really not sure about this. I wasn't even sure that I was gonna even that we were gonna even do this review because just looking at the preview of it, like I'm gonna give it a shot though. I'm gonna give the show a shot. But if I had to grade, so if you had to grade this episode, because I think we've kind of said all we had to say about this episode. What would you give the grade for the episode or the rating for the episode so we kind of close things out?
C. Not C, meaning middle grade, because it's like, you're in the middle.
So
You're
like
in the
a
middle. You're
7 out of 10. Like 7 out of 10.
you're not yeah, basically, you're not that bad, but you're not that good either. It's like Genu's introduction is literally just running Hidomi over with her car, and it's like, oh, sorry, I didn't kill her. I didn't kill her, so now I have to, like, protect her because I know what's on the way, and I know what's stalking her. So my apologies, ma'am. I didn't kill your daughter.
I mean, to be fair, Haruko. So to be fair, Haruko does do something like that in this premiere. Haruko, again, like I said earlier, she kicks Kana in the face, and she says something like, "Did she die?" or something like that. But it's not as effective here, I guess.
Basically, yeah. So, well, what would you grade it?
Man, I don't want to be too hard on it, just because it's
Yeah.
just because it's the premiere and everything. Um, Animation wise, I mean, you thought it was alright. I mean, I'm I'm no animation expert, so I'll just say it didn't look bad or anything like that. Voice acting was good, for the most part, it was good. Um, Again, it was just those little differences. I think it's just because I've seen the subtitle version and the English version in one night, so I can kind of tell. I can kind of tell where the who does the licensing for this. I is it Funimation? But whoever does it, I can see where they kind of added their American. They added sort of the American references and kind of changed the dialogue and stuff up. So honestly, I'll give it a 7 just to be nice here. I'll give it a 7. Not too wild about the episode. And please let us know what y'all thought about this episode in the comment section below, because I'm curious. Did y'all like this more than season 2? Do you think this is gonna be more in line with season 1? Let us know, because to be honest, I'm just kind of middle of the road on this, and I think you're more. I think you would be more excited for this because you kind of like season 1 a little bit more than me.
Season 1 a little bit more than you, but I still see progressive for me personally. Like, I know your take on it. Like, it really was the topple over one for me. I really don't like care what anyone says about like how bad progressive was, because like, to me personally, like it hit more home for me now as like where I am in my life right now. It just like, okay, yeah, this hit me a lot more harder. With this, I'm holding a hope for it, just like you. Episode 2 looks better. So
Yeah,
that
episode two
that's
looks like
basically
it
it.
could be very interesting. I'm gonna see how many people are gonna say by the end of this, "Oh, I could relate to all these little girls, to all these little teenage girls." Because there's really like here's the thing, because there's no male. Well, so far there's like no male characters for us to kind of. I mean, it's not that you can't really relate this to a character that is of the opposite sex, but it's just like there's no male character in this, and I think
You know what's
if there is that one male character, it better not be some Tenchi Muyo sort of hentai, or not hentai. What do you call it? Harem. Might not like. I hope it's not some harem type of thing where like there's like one dude. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Um,
uh,
as long as it
dude,
don't
like
turn into some harem anime. As long as it don't turn to that. But yeah.
I
Let us know what you guys thought about the episode. Thank you guys for listening, watching, and everything. Like the video, subscribe. We're out of here. Peace.